Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to our webinar on holistic beauty, featuring expertise perspective from SEPPIC, a company specializing in multifunctional ingredients that deliver sensorial experiences and inspire creativity. Today's webinar is hosted by Covalo, a search platform that not only connects brands with suppliers and service providers to make beauty product development faster and easier, but that also delivers real-time insights to support product marketing. Our topic today is holistic beauty. Holistic beauty is an evolution of the beauty from within trend that has become increasingly mainstream over the past 5+ years. Holistic beauty is closely linked with the consumer wellness movement that is all the more relevant because of the pandemic experience. And holistic beauty is very much about targeted skincare benefits and often leverages the power of beauty supplements and topical products working together. Today, I'm speaking with Anna Momméja. Anna Momméja is the Europe Market Manager at SEPPIC. She obtained her master's degree at the ISIPCA in Versailles in the field of natural cosmetic raw materials. After a first professional experience as the application laboratory manager at Minasolve, she joined SEPPIC in 2014. My name is Deanna Utroske. I work as a thought leader serving suppliers and manufacturers in the cosmetic and personal care industry. I will be leading today's conversation and learning right along with you as we explore what's newly important and newly possible in holistic beauty. We will cover several aspects of the holistic beauty movement today, including how nutracosmetics and topical products have converged to support this movement, market drivers and trends that are impacting holistic beauty, and specific ingredient solutions that can be leveraged to formulate products that will meet consumer demand for holistic beauty. We will also have time at the end of our discussion to answer some of your questions directly. So please do type those into the Q&A function anytime during our session, and we'll respond to them at the end of our webinar. Again, please go ahead and use the Q&A function to type in your questions. So let's get started. We'll begin with an introduction to holistic beauty. Anna, welcome in.
Thank you. So hello, Deanna. Hello, everybody. I'm very pleased to be here and to discuss with you about holistic beauty.
Wonderful. So I was just going to ask you to go ahead and start with an overview of holistic beauty for us.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So to answer your question, basically the holistic beauty takes into account several dimensions and connect them together. So if we consider hair and skin, we want to improve their appearance. There are two ways to address their needs. So either you put something on it, so this is the external way, so to say, or you treat it indirectly by taking food or specific beauty supplements, which of course are more effective and more targeted. So basically, holistic beauty is really the alliance of two universes, as you mentioned. So the alliance of one part cosmetic beauty and nutri-cosmetic products. So beauty inside from out. So basically this is this. So now if we have a look at the different, at these two universes, we can see that they are quite different. Because on one hand, we have the cosmetics, which have a very long and ancient tradition. So we know that people, human beings, have been using cosmetics for millennia now. And in the last century, there was a huge development also of technologies, of ingredients. There is more and more education as well. So consumers are more aware about what they have to do to treat their skin and hair. So this is a well-established market, quite mature in a very global way. And in parallel, so we have the nutri-cosmetic market, which here is much younger, because even if in some cultures, the importance of food is already known and taken into account for beauty, to take beauty supplements, which are really designed specifically for one beauty benefit is something slightly different. So one of the first nutri-cosmetic brands was created in Europe in the 80s. So this is quite quite recent in comparison to the cosmetic. And this was created by Green, which launched a brand which is called Imedin. Hopefully, I'm right with the pronunciation. And this person was really considered the father of the inner skincare. So the 80s were really the decade where the brands started to emerge. That was the pioneer decade. And the next decades, that was more the feedback from the market. And at the beginning, it was much skepticism, and we observed some business failures. So there was a need to understand why, and there have been improvements about the scientific approaches, about manufacturing processes, about education of consumers. Yeah, so this is a really much newer market. But nowadays, this is interesting to see that we observe a boom of this nutri-cosmetic market. So the nutri-cosmetic market in the holistic beauty is the limiting factor, I would say, because cosmetic is already very well established, whereas the nutri-cosmetics is still emerging. Mm-hmm. So now, so I explained a little bit the differences. So here are also some key features to really understand how they act on the beauty, because of course they don't have the same way to act on the hair and skin. So basically, the oral pathway is it works indirectly. It works in depth and more long term. Whereas on the other side, the topic pathway, so is direct, put directly on the skin surface, and it rather works on short term. So when we see this, we see, okay, they're totally the opposite of each other. This is also the reason why they are so complementary. And there is another sign that allows where we can see some permeability between both markets, which is quite interesting, and we can see it through ingredients. Mm-hmm. So collagen, hyaluronic acid, coenzyme Q10, by example, these are really star ingredients of cosmetics that found their ways as well into the nutri-cosmetics. So they are well known. People are aware about these ingredients. They feel comfortable with it. And the other way around, so probiotics, prebiotics, omega-3, the superfruits, so all these star ingredients coming from food in a more general way also found their way in the cosmetics. So very complementary. And if we really follow here a statement of Philippot from the lab Nutri-Cosmetics, so Nutri-Cosmetics is the future of cosmetology, but it will not replace traditional cosmetics because both go together. So it's
I want to maybe if we can jump ahead a little bit. This is like a super interesting to think about the history of everything that's going on in the holistic movement, and you're really moving us forward nicely. I think we should jump to really the current consumer interest in this topic. I know that in the marketplace, consumers are focused a lot on, from my perspective, I would describe it as well-being, right? But I wonder if you can talk about how that consumer interest is helping shape the holistic beauty movement now. I was just going to add to say this might be jumping ahead a little bit for you, but I think it's a good next step for our conversation.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish on what it means for B2B business.
Absolutely.
Because the overview of this holistic beauty, this is from a consumer point of view, it sounds easy, it sounds logical. So why are there not more holistic beauty offered? Mm-hmm. And the explanation is really in the B2B business and organizations, because in the end, our organizations, usually in the companies, are not thought to think in a holistic global way. So there is one team with one expertise, and the development of nutri-cosmetics or cosmetics is done separately. So that was really the big challenge for our industry to overcome, to really address this topic. But now,
Perfect.
yes, indeed. So well-being, of course, is quite important. And this is basically actually the keystone of our modern societies. So this is what people want to achieve. So we are more and more exposed to hectic lifestyles. We want to relax. We want to feel good. So this is the grail of the modern society. As you mentioned it, we saw it quite well with the COVID crisis, when people didn't have the possibility anymore to access their well-being places. So they tried to recreate it at home. And when we consider the current situation and environment, which sometimes may be a little bit anxiogene, it will continue for sure. So this need of well-being.
Yes.
Nevertheless, so well-being can be understood differently according to cultures. And cultures for me is really something key here to explain the shaping of the dynamic of the holistic beauty. So basically, you have, without making too strong stereotypes, you have some cultural areas where we consider life in a very segmented way. Experiences, what they should bring, what they bring to the body and or the mind. And you have some other cultures which really have a holistic vision of life and experience.
Mm-hmm.
And because of globalization, each influences the other. And in the last decade, there was a huge increase of this holistic vision, including in other continents. So that's actually the best example is Asia. So here you see Asia, culturally speaking, they have really a strong history, culture, practices related to holicism. So this is the biggest market for nutri-cosmetics. They are nowadays leading the cosmetic industry in terms of trends, and they're really infused in the other areas. And this is what is boosting also the holistic beauty. The holistic vision of life, and so consequently including holistic beauty. So this is one important point. Now, if you have a look at the market drivers, so we can see three main drivers. So favorable for healthy lifestyle, proof of efficiency, holicism of the beauty, which are really the key, the keys to understand what consumers expect, so to say. And finally here, so when we have a look at the galenics, what kind of products are offered? So we can see an influence of nutri-cosmetics is influenced by food, by pharma, and this is not necessarily talking to beauty consumers, so they have to transform themselves a little bit to make it more appealing. And for cosmetics, it's a little bit the contrary, so they are already quite known for fun textures and for having fun, feeling good. And here it's another challenge, rather to go to more serious textures sometimes. So this is how I see it regarding well-being. So well-being through the cultures, through holistic visions of life, push the holistic beauty.
Wonderful. I love that. I'm definitely observing some similarities, especially what you were speaking about, how the Asia market is a huge influence in terms of well-being thinking around the globe. There's a lot going on there, to be sure. I wanted to maybe look back at your previous slide where you showed market drivers and trends. I just wanted to ask, it doesn't seem to me, as you've outlined it here, that these are really separate types of consumers. So I'm wondering, how could a product innovator think about the overlapping interests of a consumer? Maybe, they're thinking about safety, they're thinking about science, they're thinking about fun, all at the same time. How can we speak to that customer?
Yeah, so these are, as I mentioned, market drivers. So they can support developer to understand the market in general. They are not a specific type of customer. So they may support the definition of a persona, which is a semi-fictional customer. But the key is really to clearly identify your target, your customers, what kind of customer group you want to address. And for this customer, then one or the other driver will have more importance. And then you can really dose the importance of each one and what is necessary for your products to be successful on the market.
Perfect. That makes excellent sense. Thank you for explaining that. I love it. Before I ask my next question, I just want to sort of note that from my own observations, ingredients that have helped beauty from within become mainstream, maybe particularly here in the US market, but I imagine more globally as well, are things like collagen and hyaluronic acid. And these are common and popular topical skincare ingredients. They not only provide benefits in conventional formulation, but now they also make sense and are being sold as ingestibles. But from what you've said earlier and what I know of your work at SEPPIC, Anna, I understand that you and your colleagues are creating more specialized ingredients. I'm hoping you can say a bit about some of your best holistic beauty ingredients, maybe what they are, what sort of benefits they provide.
Yes, of course. First of all, for people who don't know SEPPIC, because I don't know if all of them are familiar with SEPPIC, so very brief introduction.
Yes.
So SEPPIC is a supplier of specialty ingredients for B2B business. So we are 79 years old now, and our first expertise, our strongest pillar is the cosmetic industry. So here we have a wide portfolio offering polymers, emulsifiers, emollients, active ingredients, a lot of active ingredients. And we are really strong. We really developed a strong expertise in terms of formulations and understanding the trends of the cosmetic markets. Mm-hmm. But we also have other markets. Another market, historically speaking, is the pharmaceutical industry, where we sold some coatings. So this experience was useful actually to prepare the apparition of our nutri-cosmetics nutrition market.
Yes,
so this is
yes.
This is the latest one, actually. So this is quite recent in comparison to our cosmetic knowledge, but we really could capitalize on the expertise related to biological performance, related to trends, to storytelling. Storytelling is very important in skincare, in cosmetics. So we could capitalize on that expertise and combine it with the seriousness, the regulatory applications, the coating experience from the pharmaceutical sides. And this is the strength of SEPPIC for nutri-cosmetics today, is that we can really offer excipients and active ingredients. So here, we have a small webinar. It's not that long, so I will not talk about excipients today. I will only focus on active ingredients and introduce you briefly what they can and why they're good. So basically, you have the review of the main claims that are very key and important for beauty. Mm-hmm. So healthy aging, of course, this is actually the key claim for the cosmetic industry, for the beauty industry in general. Moisturization is a basic. This is one of the most classical claim ever related to beauty. Then we will talk about soothing and glow. So on this slide, you can see two lines of ingredients. The first line is for cosmetic active ingredients, and below are the nutri-cosmetics grades. If you have any questions, of course, you can drop me a mail, and we'll come back to you. And otherwise, if you want to have a look at what is available, what kind of results we have, and so on, the website is also available. So for sure, we can come back to you with documentation, with more details that we cannot share everywhere and everything.
No, that makes sense. Perfect. No, that's great to know that there's more data available if folks are interested.
Of course.
Let's see what other questions have come in here. We talked about this a little bit in terms of product formats with the nutraceuticals, but someone is wondering if customers are looking at enriched food products. I would call these sometimes functional foods. So are people putting the ceramicides perhaps in a more conventional beverage like a tea or a nutritive milk or something like that? Are you seeing or working with anyone in that space?
Yes, so this was one of the formats, more or less, that I mentioned. So making it more related to food. So there are the gummies, there are the drinks. So this is definitely the easiest way, and we're observing this, yes, with our customers. They
Perfect,
are quite
perfect.
popular, and
Oh,
at the
good.
moment, they are really the popular formats.
Excellent. So I do have more questions for you, Anna, but I don't want to forget our host here. Lisa, I believe you're available to answer questions too. Is that correct?
Yeah, of course, happy to help.
Wonderful. Thank you. I wanted to jump in and ask you a question that's come in about Covalo. And it asks pretty generally, how does Covalo support brands maybe when it comes to holistic beauty or searching for ingredients like this? Where do you come in here?
Of course. So that's a great question, and happy to answer it. So first of all, I think what's important to know is that with more than 60,000 products on the platform, Covalo has the largest and deepest listing of beauty ingredients and formulations. So we have like a very 360-degree approach, a holistic approach, if you will, meaning that we go very deep, not only on technical or commercial information, but also on sustainability related info, for example. And then when it comes to holistic beauty specifically, on Covalo, you can use the application filters, which allow you to find the ingredients relevant for the format that you're exploring. So, for example, the filters capsules or pastilles or drops, if you're looking into like ingestibles. So instead of you having to look for specific ingredients when you might not be familiar with that category, using these filters will help you find the suitable ingredients. And then there's also other filters that you can use on our platform. So, for example, the performance claims filter, you can find inspiration from different ingredients for different applications, and that will allow you to reach one intended goal you want to solve for your end user with your product. So, for example, anti-aging or hair strengthening. So yeah, there are tons of ways in which Covalo can be used for your next holistic beauty product. So do sign up for free on our platform if you haven't already. Yeah, and just go explore those thousands of ingredients.
Excellent. Thank you for that. It's interesting to think about how robust the search functionality is there. And it's not just a matter of having a great database, if you will, of ingredients, but also the tools for a user who, like you suggested, might not yet be familiar with holistic beauty to really sort through and find what they're looking for. That's great. I'll jump back to Anna for the rest of some questions. I don't think we're going to get through the whole list, so forgive me if you've asked a question. Please do follow up with Anna and her team at SEPPIC. Someone, definitely sees this trend continuing and is very excited about it, but is curious to know how easy it is for cosmetic companies to move into this new area of expertise, to develop functional foods, to move into supplements, if they've conventionally been a beauty company. I know there might be concerns in the regulatory space, not just the formulation space, but Anna, is that something you can speak to? How would someone get started in this if they've always just been a beauty maker?
Well, it's a big challenge indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, the regulation is quite specific, also depending on the areas, on the countries where they're based. So of course it means that if they want to go into that direction, there needs to be some investment for these questions of regulatory to really know, okay, are we compliant? Are we able to produce? So this is really a strategic decision, because under this, it means that they need to have competent people. The other way that may be a little bit easier is to find a partner that is already comfortable with this question, and that can be a test and learn to see if it makes sense, if the company really wants to go into that direction. So there's also things that we observe on the market. Indeed, usually there is a need for support at the beginning for the very first steps.
Okay. Okay, that's helpful to know. This isn't something maybe that you should jump into on your own if you're moving from cosmetics into supplements. Yeah, you want to find a good partner. That's an excellent.
It's not that easy, yes.
Yeah, perfect. One of our audience members has helped me understand that it sounds like their company, in fact, already is working with the ceramicides ingredients and creating some food products like the teas and the milks and what have you. So, of course, you were right, but it's definitely going on in the marketplace and even among the folks watching here today. So that's really wonderful to hear. If anyone has a further question, please take this opportunity to type it into the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. I have one question. It's not very specific, but I was fairly enchanted with your description of your moisturization ingredients and the mist product in particular that you talked about, Anna. I think that really is a phenomenal storytelling opportunity. If you could expand a little bit on that in the few minutes that we have left, I would be curious. I'm not sure if everyone else is, but I thought that was very enchanting. I would love to hear a bit more about that moisturization mist and the ingredients behind it.
Yeah, so for this beauty mist, so this is a sprayable formulation, sprayable emulsion.
Okay.
So meaning you have an oily phase inside, which is bringing care for your skin. You have some dedicated polymers that support the good sprayability of the product. So technical details, but when you formulate, these are things that are important to take into account. Now, if we really focus on active ingredients, because this is what we talked most about. So here we combined both Aquaxyl and Ceramicides HP. So regarding moisturization, you have plenty of possible storytelling because you have different moisturization strategies. So one of them is to reinforce the skin barrier. So meaning, you have the epidermis. And this is like a wall of bricks that are really tight and that shouldn't let water go out, for example, and should protect the skin from external incomers. So if one day everything that is binding these bricks together is not very healthy, is not really efficient anymore, you may have dry skin, you may have irritated skin. So to play on this is what we call the skin barrier reinforcement, and ceramides are really good, are known to be quite efficient in on this matter. So this is where Ceramicides HP comes and plays a big role. So reinforcing the skin barrier. And then, as I mentioned, so Aquaxyl, so these are sugars. This is a complex of xylitol derived sugars. Here it's more hydrophilic, so it will not help making the skin impermeable like ceramides would do.
Sure.
But they will go more into the water reservoirs. They will stimulate actually the reserves of water. They will stimulate the circulation of water by acting on the aquaporins. And what is good also with this specific sugar is that they also stimulate the synthesis of ceramides and of hyaluronic acid. So Aquaxyl is a very performant moisturizer with multiple benefits, and it can complement. So both mechanisms of action are very complementary, actually. So this is why this is nice also to combine them, not only nutricosmetics and cosmetics, but also in cosmetic products.
Wonderful, wonderful. That makes fantastic sense. No wonder I was so enchanted by this. It's quite delightful. Thank you so much. Before we finish our discussion here, I just want to give you a chance, Anna, to put the email address back up on the screen. I assume that's a good resource for anyone curious to learn more if they have technical questions or want to connect with your sales team on this. This is the way to do it. Is that true?
Yes, this is the way to do it.
Okay, wonderful.
So
Thank you
since
for
we
that.
are a worldwide company, if I start writing all the dedicated persons, it will be a mess. So
Yes,
keep it simple. Send it to me if you have any requests, and I will take care of
perfect.
it.
And
Perfect.
I just want to emphasize, Deanna, sorry, that
Please.
this information will be sent out to everyone on a thank you email after the webinar. So don't worry, we'll have all the contacts available.
Excellent. Excellent. That's great as well. Thank you. So everything you've shared today, Anna, has been terrifically helpful. I very much appreciate it. I think we've gotten some great information. We've answered many questions. Again, if you have further interest in this, please follow up with the team at SEPPIC. My name is Deanna Utroske. On behalf of myself, the team at SEPPIC, and the team at Covalo, I want to thank you for watching today. Take care.